This happened either day of or day after we podcasted last week, so this is a little bit of old news. But I want to talk about it because I have some new thoughts on this. Kojima has left Konami and Kojima Productions. This is from an article over at GameSpot. Hideo Kojima is no longer working at Konami in the studio Kojima Productions, according to a source speaking with the New Yorker. We'll get to that update in a moment. Kojima reportedly parted ways with the company earlier this month on October 9th. The source in question attended a departure ceremony on that day for Kojima, who has worked at Konami for almost 3 decades. We've contacted Konami for confirmation that Kojima is no longer with the company, but have not yet received a response. We'll update this story with any comment, and then talks about how he has a non-compete clause till December before he can go sign with anybody else. But there is a response from Konami here. Konami has responded to a detailed report which revealed that Metal Gear creator Hideo Kojima has left the company. The publisher suggests that he is still an employee and on a lengthy vacation following the protracted development of Metal Gear Solid 5, according to the Japanese publication Tokyo Sports, which has been translated by Kotaku. A Konami spokesperson said, quote, "Currently Kojima is listed as a company employee," end quote, and went on to say the extended leave was normal for console game development projects. Quote, "Currently Kojima and the development team are finished developing Metal Gear Solid 5 and are taking a long time off from work because the development time for console games is so long and fatigues build up. It's common for employees to take extended periods of time of when development is finished," end quote.
I can see that being so true with this game because it's so in-depth. There's so much to it.
Well, and that is the norm. Like when you get done developing the game, you take some time off and you come back and you start working on your next project. However, everything we have heard about this situation indicates that while that might be true in some regard, it's only half of the truth. I think back to my favorite guy who worked at ESPN, a guy by the name of Bill Simmons, who went on a huge rant about the NFL commissioner and how inept he was. And he got suspended by ESPN. And then he got basically just unplugged from ESPN. Like they put a gag order on him. He wasn't allowed to do any podcasts, wasn't allowed to write any news or run the website that he started or anything like that until his contract ran out in August. And so Bill Simmons at the time was still an employee of ESPN, but he had no affiliation with him. He was still getting a check from him, but he wasn't creating anything for them or doing anything for them. And as soon as his contract ended, he moved on to the next thing. So Kojima very well could be an employee at Konami still, but it's just that he's under that non-compete until December. His contract's up, and then he can move on. So I think both of these articles are true, but Kojima's gone. And Konami's acting like the guy who breaks up with the girl, who gets broken up with by the girl, and he's like, "Yeah, me and that girl, we're just on a break," but that girl's like out in the club, giving her real name, giving her real number out to people. She has no intention of coming back, and that's what Konami looks like in all this. Konami has done such. Can you think of a worse way for them to have done any of this stuff?
But back to your analogy, sometimes that girl comes back because she's out of money, or because she, sometimes, or like she got mixed up with the wrong people, and she realizes,
like Honey.
What?
That didn't she get mixed up with the wrong people? Was it some movie?
What are
Her
you
name was
talking?
Honey. She was a dancer. She broke up with this guy, and then they went and she was hanging out with the wrong guys. And then she came back to him because he was a good guy.
I think Ben just wrote a movie in his head. But no, so, she gets mixed up with the wrong people, and so she's like, I'm sorry, I realized, but she didn't change. She only lasts for a very little time after that because, she's been out and experienced things in the world, and she's seen new things that she wants to go back to, like drugs and
just drugs.
Just drugs, man.
But isn't that who Kojima's been? Like, hasn't he always been like, "This is my last Metal Gear," since Metal Gear Solid 3?
Probably.
Like, he always comes out and is like, "This is my last Metal Gear," and then he's like, "Maybe just take me back. I'll do one more." And then, but I think this is the definitive last time.
And this could be the definitive last time. I mean, this is probably the most celebrated Metal Gear since 2. And it's just this huge. People call it a magnum opus, and I think that's what it is. It's this great amalgamation of what everyone's loved about all the games so far.
He's an English major.
and
I too believe it is a Mr. Holland's opus.
oh man, that's a good movie.
I've seen it in bits and pieces, but never all at one time.
It's one of those movies that you don't think is going to be stupid and cheesy, but Hallmark gets it right sometimes.
Like October Skies.
I haven't seen that movie.
It's a good movie.
Isn't that the one where the guy with the kid like
Plays the guitar, plays percussive
Yeah,
guitar.
yeah. That was the first movie
That's
I watched
August
with my
Rush.
wife.
August Rush.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Wait,
October
what am I-
Skies is about the guy who wants to build rockets, right?
That's what happens all the
He's
time.
from West Virginia.
I get those.
Yeah.
I get those two
Wasn't he
movies
from
mixed up all the
West
time
Virginia?
because when we went to sit down and watch August Rush, I thought we were about to watch a movie about a rocket ship, and I'm like, when is this kid gonna put down the guitar and start building a rocket?
I'm a rocket man.
That was the fun fact. That was the first
Good
movie I ever
shit.
shared with Nicole, my now wife.
It was the
October
first-
Skies or August Rush? Or Beautiful
August
Mind.
August Skies.
August Rush was the first movie I shared with a girl. Who
Wait,
didn't
Beautiful
work
Mind's
out.
in the mix?
Huh?
Beautiful Mind is in the mix?
No,
I just put it in the mix.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't Beautiful Mind about Rain Man?
No, that would be Rain Man.
That's literally called Rain Man.
Okay.
You were gonna say something about Kojima.
Oh,
Was I?
No.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
I'm so done with this relationship. Of it's like I've turned on Maury and it's the same couple on TV for the third time about like
You're that.
You
fucking
are not
annoying
the
that you're like you're a regular.
I don't know. It just I've gotten to the point where I'm just really cynical about it now. I don't care at all about this. Like I feel like one of the parties is just milking this as like they're going to put out more and more information just to say we're still here, we're still relevant. Like I'm trying to think of what.
But what good is that?
It's
What
not.
do you do?
That's what I'm saying. There's no.
Because I think if Konami had their way, all this would go away.
Yeah.
Like people would just stop talking about it. Kojima would go quiet. And I think Kojima's going to talk about this in January.
Well,
you know?
it's a nasty breakup, so he wants to.
That was the best part about Bill Simmons. As soon as that contract was up, he went out and just started blasting ESPN, and that's what I'm really hoping for from Kojima. I don't think it will happen. I think Kojima's a lot different, and that whole culture is a lot different. But gosh, the stories that are going to come out about this are just going to be awesome. I want to offer you guys some new conjecture as to what I believe happened. We've talked about this before, but I was thinking about it today.
I love that word.
Conjecture?
Yeah.
Some wild conjecture. You know, we've always kind of linked this back to what Kojima wanted to do with Metal Gear, and we said, you know, many podcasts ago over at the old house even that this probably was that he wanted to do something different, and they just wanted him to continue making Metal Gear, so he walked away. But he was making Silent Hills, like he was doing something different, and he was doing something that he was passionate about, and Guillermo del Toro was passionate about. So it's not like they were just like Metal Gear. That's all you have to do. So I'm starting to come to the conclusion that there are maybe two things that happened. One being that Kojima had already come out and said that he wanted to make a reimagining of the first Metal Gear Solid and do it open world. Mm-hmm. And that Konami was like, well, we want to do something with Metal Gear Solid 1, but we want to put it on the mobile platform. And Kojima wasn't having any of that. But the other one, I think, is much more likely, and it has to do with Silent Hills. It is known far and wide that a Kojima game has to sit incubating maybe twice as long as most other games have to. So you get PT coming out in 2014 at Gamescom, so it was over a year ago at this point. It's a huge success. People are downloading it, streaming it. Everybody is pumped about Silent Hills. Konami's video game division at this point is sinking, and they see this cash cow in Silent Hills, and they're like, we got to strike while the iron's hot. Mm-hmm. And I think what happened is that they went in, and again, this is just all wild speculation, and the fact that me and Kojima are very, very close.
Intimate relationships.
But they came in to Kojima and they said, look, we know that we gave you till 2017, mid 2017 to do this thing, but we need to take advantage of the hype. Let's cut back on that and try to get Silent Hills out earlier than that. And Kojima just wasn't having it. Like he obviously, you got to care about something to put out something for free that you care about as much as they cared about PT. Like, and PT was a bridge to Silent Hills. And so I can imagine Konami was like, look, we can't wait around for 2.5, 3 years for this thing to come to the market. So let's get it out quicker. So that's my new standpoint that I'm coming from. Thoughts on that? I know I'm just throwing that at you.
Well, I mean, it's a really cool idea. And it is entirely plausible. I just tend to kind of lean towards the idea that the man's got to be like burnt out, and he's got to. I mean, I totally believe just the idea that both of these companies, like Kojima himself and Konami, are just entirely frustrated with each other, because I'm sure that Kojima, as a diva, has to put his face in every game that he has, and his name on every credit, and in every single, like, all 50 missions of.
Lauren was watching me play, and she was like, wait, is it over? Because you know how at the end
Right,
of every
right.
mission it does a thing. She's like, wait, is it over? I'm like, no. And then I played another one.
So I can see this beautiful genius man being a huge diva, and I can see this huge corporation that is not run very well, according to most sources, being really hard to work with. And not necessarily that's a bad thing, but I mean, I'm coming from the creative side and coming from the business side. Those two things are going to clash a lot of the time, especially when you have someone who is as creative and as innovative as Kojima himself.
And is tenured.
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine the people that are making the decisions in the suits haven't been there nearly as long as Kojima has. Kojima was there for, 27 years? 26, 27 years, something like that? Almost 30 years.
It was
I didn't realize
83?
Yeah, he's been there for a long, long time.
That's
started
longer
in
than
like
I've
83,
been a part of Earth.
I know it's less than 20 years.
1983, I'm pretty sure.
No, I know it was not that long, because that would make
He started
be 32 years.
He started Metal Gear in 87, didn't he?
How long was Kojima at Konami?
I think it was in that article.
I think it was 27 years. Hello. 1986, so that's 29 years. So almost 30 years.
Oh, I was close.
So, anyway, not to beat a dead horse or anything. Let's move on.